Welcome back to the Backcountry PA Podcast. This is episode 138, and on this one, we talk all about trapping. We had Autumn in studio to talk about trapping, to show us some of her traps, to talk about how she got into trapping at the age of 8 years old, which is crazy to me. But we sit down and watch on the YouTube channel to see the actual traps she shows us. I try and close a beaver trap, which is not possible with your bare hands. We talk about some stories that she has about her trapping with her dad, one of her most memorable hunts with her dad, which is very meaningful. We talk about what she actually has planned for her dad as well at the very end. So by the time this came out, she would have got the gift already to her dad for that. Trapping prices, trapping tips she has for everyone, waterfowl hunting. We talk about waterfowls too, and then why she likes catching beavers and raccoons so much. Her first trapping experience was 8 years old with a raccoon. We talk about that. Talk about the biggest beaver she's caught or trapped. She also works with PA Trappers Association, so go check them out. Go check out Autumn on Instagram. It was a great conversation in the studio with Autumn. Remember, guys, keep hunting, keep fishing, keep your tradition, and always enjoy the freaking process. Welcome back to Backcountry PA Podcast. We are in the woodshed, once known as BCPA studio, in my backyard. But you got myself, Cody.
You got Ethan.
Wow, on the horn.
I'm doing pretty good at this.
Yeah. And we got a guest in studio.
Yes.
This is the first. No, we had another. See, this is a no girls allowed studio. Oh. So I mean, it's hard to allow you in here, but you had something that we wanted to learn about. Because we know nothing about anything of this. So, right off the bat, do you want to introduce yourself to the listeners, who you are, how you got into hunting or trapping, whatever you want to talk about, really.
My name's Autumn McEntee. I'm 19. I'm from Central Pennsylvania, and I got started trapping when I was 8 years old. I started with my dad. I got started hunting about around the same time. I love to trap raccoons, beaver, mink, muskrat. I'm a big water trapper, not so much land, but I love to hunt predators, turkeys, waterfowl especially.
I mean, the fact that you like to hunt turkeys and you also trap kind of goes hand in hand, because what you're trapping affects the turkey population a lot. Yeah. So, I mean, I would say last 2 years, the turkey population has gone down, but I don't know if it's going up at all.
So, specifically in my areas, I've noticed that it's been going up. Mm-hmm. And they've published stuff in the Game News magazine that the turkey population is not nearly as bad off as we originally thought it was. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of contributing factors to the decline in turkey populations. Habitat is most important, but predator control is also important, and that's where trappers come in. And it's been a trend in, I think, the turkey hunting industry where people are getting into trapping, because Strickland's promoting it really heavy. Right. And I think that, the hashtag Save the Poults has been real popular on Instagram, and I think that that's a great way to encourage more people to trap, because trapping circles back to everything else. Your coyotes, and your deer, and your raccoons, and your possums, and your skunks, they eat your turkey eggs, your quail, grouse, and your waterfowl, your ducks, and your geese. Your mink, I've trapped them out of trout hatcheries for places that the mink were going in, and they were taking one bite out of the back of a big trout and just leaving the rest of it lay.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it circles back to every other outdoor niche that there is, and the more I've had people who hunt and who fish who tell me that they don't understand trapping at all. They think it's cruel and things like that, and they don't understand that trapping is vital. It's a vital conservation tool. It's our most valuable that we can have, and I think people don't understand that it's managed by science. It's not. We're not guessing. It's scientifically managed to a T, and we probably not to a T. Probably cut that out. Whatever time that is. Yeah, probably not to a T. 13 minutes, 11 seconds. Okay, cool. Anyways.
Well, you don't have to cut it out because you just said not to a T. It's okay.
Okay.
You correct.
Yeah,
me.
you're good.
Fair.
Probably
You're
not to a T, but down to within.
We're Wikipedia here.
Right. True.
You know?
Down
you
to
can edit
within.
anything.
Within like I believe it's down to within like a 2% gap of where we are in our correctness of our studies in population data. And it's very important that we encourage people who are into other outdoor niches that, you know, they can help themselves too, and that they can do their part on their properties and stuff to manage predators. And another misconception that I've heard a lot is that people think that trapping is for eradication, which is not true. Trapping is for management. Everything we do is for management because they're native species. If you were trapping like a non-native species like your feral hogs and stuff like that, that would be for the purpose of eradication. This is just for the purpose of management. Right. Because you have to have your raccoons, and you have to have your coyotes, you have to have your foxes, and you're making your muskrat. They all have their own niche in the ecosystem. The only importance is managing that, and it gets even harder, and you have to work even harder to manage as urbanization grows and stuff, and there's less habitat, and there's more deforestation and habitat fragmentation to where there may not be suitable habitat for everything, and you have to make sure that you're managing per individual habitat.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead. I thought you had something.
Oh, no. I was just like, I was
okay.
like, okay,
right. I thought
continue.
Okay.
You're doing fine. Keep talking.
We could go right.
I'm learning
we
already.
could just look at you and you go on and on.
Because we
Would
know,
that be better?
No.
No. We know nothing about this.
No, but I mean, Ethan and I have we're not in trapping. Like, Ethan did it for his business for a little bit.
That wasn't even trapping.
It wasn't.
That was with a half a heart cage. That was something completely different.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had to report to the game commission still what I caught and what I dispatched and what was relocated and certain things you're allowed to and not allowed to. I buy my fur bearer license every year. Never shot anything yet. I just haven't. I want to, but I just never dove head into it. Yeah. It's we got old traps hanging up at the cabin. You've seen them before. They're a little A-frame going up like this, and there's old traps. I mean, they're older than me, and I'm going to be 30 this year. They're older than me, and they're still up there. Some of them are open, set. Yeah. I think they're rusted open, though. I don't want to test it, but
fly lands on it.
Oh, fly
goes off.
I'm going to put a stick in there, see if it actually sets it up. But the cabin's been there since 1980. Yeah. And I think those traps have been there since basically then. Wow. And they're still there. That's decoration. Yeah.
My only connection to trapping is my dad used to trap. He lived on Masonic Village, and he would trap there. He would trap muskrats, raccoon, foxes, all that kind of stuff. In the creek bed, he would do that kind of stuff. But then he kind of got out of it. And the main reason I think a lot of people, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of people get out of it is because of the prices. They're in it because the prices of the fur.
Right.
They're not thinking about, how can this affect the population of turkeys or whatever other animal, like the pheasants, the quails, all that kind of stuff. You have to, because I don't know if it's because of the predator population or whatever it is, but the pheasant population has taken a huge hit. Now you have to have pheasant farms where they actually grow them, or not grow them, but reproduce them pretty much. Right. So that I feel had some kind of effect on that because the wild bird population.
Right. And sorry, my brain just completely
It happens. It happens. It happens to me often, actually.
Quite often. Every day.
But so let's talk about that. When you first got into it, what was that like? What'd your dad got you into it?
Fur prices. Right.
Yeah.
That's what we're okay. Yeah. So that's another thing I'm super passionate about. Is encouraging people to trap, even though you can't get $20 for a coon anymore. I trapped when you could still get $25 for a coon. I trapped when I could get $20 for a mink.
How old were you at that time?
I was 8.
8? You were trapping. You were running a trap line. That's correct terminology, right?
Yes.
Trap line.
Yes.
Yeah. Go team. We're doing good.
Yes, you guys are doing great.
So you were 8 years old running a trap line with your dad.
And people, I feel like people are stuck on the narrative that, you know, people used to be able to make a living off of trapping. Like, you get $70 for a red fox, and it was great. And people would quit their jobs to trap. And that's unfortunately not the reality anymore.
Right.
Our fur sales depend on the economy of other countries that are our biggest fur buyers. You know, you got China and Russia that are huge buyers of fur. And if their economies aren't good, then our fur sales aren't good. And there's a lot of other factors that go into it, but I like to tell people, especially, you know, people who hunt deer, you don't get paid for going to hang your stands. You don't get paid for going to check your trail cameras. You don't get paid for scouting. You can't cash that in for a check. You can't cash your mileage in scouting for ducks or geese. But people expect that from trapping. And the equipment is expensive, but you also have to think, you know, that like your guns and stuff and your bows are outrageous. I don't archery hunt, but bows are outrageous. You know how many dozen traps I could buy for the price of a Matthews bow? Quite a few.
And I don't shoot Matthews, so I don't.
What?
I don't know
like
the price.
$1,100.
I bought my bow for $369
Holy cow!
with a full setup, and I was like, wow.
I got mine for $60.
That's crazy.
It was a gun raffle, but that's a little different.
It was used off the rack at Kinsey's, barely working.
Yeah. I'm in here. We're doing great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But like, people can't cash that in, but they're still passionate about it. You know, they'll hit the woods every day, or every chance that they get to hunt deer, or they'll hit the blind every day. You can't get paid for building your duck blind or your goose blind, or laying out 12 dozen or laying out however many snow goose decoys that it's crazy. It's insane.
The time you put in isn't equivalent at all to like when deer hunting and trapping. Like, you can make at least some money off trapping by, if you want to get rid of that fur, you can at least put some in. But you're right. I mean, hunting, we're doing it pure out of passion. Like, that's the craziest thing to me. Like, people are getting, this is going to probably go off on a tangent now, but like the industry itself, you know, like, it's pushed, like, trapping isn't pushed. Right. It's not. It's because bow hunting, like rifle hunting, really isn't even pushed anymore. It's like bow hunting is the thing. Like, go out west, hunt elk, hunt mule deer, hunt whitetail, hunt caribou. Yeah, turkeys with your bow. Like, it's
reaping turkey. No,
right.
Don't even
I don't have. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate reaping turkeys. I don't think it's
turkeys.
It's not. It's almost like
it's cheating.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is. It is. Like, that turkey thinks you're an actual turkey.
Exactly.
Walking
Somebody
up to
just got shot in the face in South Dakota or South Carolina.
What?
Hunting turkeys because he was reaping.
Well, I hate to say it.
You reap what you sow.
Exactly.
Oh, God, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Damn. I was going to say, well, it's deserved, but you beat me to that.
That was a good one.
It's crazy that people encourage, you know, don't wear red, white, and blue in the woods. Well, also don't crawl behind a turkey decoy. Don't do that either. Yes,
exactly. But like, yeah, I mean, if the hunting industry would push more trapping stuff, like, oh, like, here, look at this famous person, look at this clickbait person running a trap line, doing this. Like, Steve Vernella is the only one I hear really talk about running trap lines, taking his kids out there, doing that kind of stuff. Like, that's all you hear about. You don't hear about the Drury's doing that on their properties, on their 600-acre property. You don't hear, like, there's one here local, like Beard and Buck.
Right.
You know, like, they have a big property. You don't hear about them doing it. You know, it needs to be talked about more by the people in the actual industry to grow the community. Right.
I can agree with that to a point, but also, from what I've seen, like, the direction turkey hunting has gone, because it's been industrialized, I don't think I want trapping to go in that direction.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
Like, because when you have, like, certain people and, like, pushing for, you know, more turkey hunters and stuff like that, then you're also shooting yourself in the foot in turn, because then you have too many turkey hunters, and then there's not anywhere for said turkey hunters to go hunting, or there's too many, or you're fighting over public land spots, and people are getting in arguments and stuff. I don't mean to disagree with you, but
no, I want that.
Like, I've seen in the industry that things that have been taken too far, and that they're not the way that they used to be, or not the way that was originally intended. Like reaping I don't think reaping ever would have came about if it wasn't for people promoting it. And it's people like that are responsible for putting it especially in younger hunters' minds. It's all about social media now, and the younger hunters that are online and they think, oh, that's so cool. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, whoever they see that they look up to online that's doing that, and if something, God forbid, were to happen to them because they tried something that they saw online, and you also have to be careful with the information that you're getting from people, especially on trapping, because there are rules and regulations that you have to follow that aren't prevalent, when you're hunting. Like, you got to have tags on all your traps, and certain things like that. You got to check them every the law in Pennsylvania, you have to check your traps every 36 hours, but it's best to check them every 24. But like, people, I feel like I don't ever want anybody to take any like advice. Like, if we were talking about like a trapping law or something, I don't ever want anybody to take my word for it. I want them to look in the handbook themselves and find it for them. Because 100%. If the game warden comes up to you and they said, well, I heard this girl talking about this on a podcast and I thought it was okay. Well, the game warden's going to tell you that ignorance is no excuse. They hand you that booklet when you buy your license. And ignorance is no excuse. And I feel like that's a big thing that people just listen to whoever. They don't double check for themselves, and I think that gets people in trouble as well. And I don't want trapping to go down that road. I think trapping is one of something that we need to talk about, but something that doesn't need to be industrialized, because people will try to take it and make it like turkey reaping. Like, they'll come up with some ridiculous for like, oh, go grab that coyote in the trap with your bare hands. Right. I've seen too much of that, or the people that try to put their hands in traps to get views and stuff. Like, that's not at all. I saw this video. I don't know who it was. I was just scrolling through Instagram one day, and someone out west, because it was, oh my gosh, you hit that pretty hard. Jeez. But no, it was out west, and this guy, something with a mountain lion. He had dogs. It was I'll just say it, a kid. He's probably in his 20s. And it was just like him. It's like something about like, oh, you fuck around, find out. And the mountain lion, and then it like cuts to him, and it's like a quick shot of his face, and it literally looks like the mountain lion got a paw on this dude's face. Like, he has blood everywhere. You can see a gash on his lip. It's like one of the claws. I mean, sliced the shit out of it. And I was like, what happened? So, like, I didn't know any details about it, but it's like stuff like that. When we're talking, it's like, no, like, you're supposed to. You have a job. I don't want to say it. Make it sound like it's like, oh, it's a job, but like, you have a duty when you're doing these things, whether you're hunting, whether you're trapping, you check your traps every so often. What you have to do, right? You go out, all right, cool, there's something in the trap, right? It's your duty to euthanize that animal efficiently, quickly, humanely. Done. Not that's one thing, and maybe you could speak on this. I don't get it when I see all these videos, especially like mountain lion up in a tree, right? And there's dogs barking, and they're just filming this thing, and it's like a couple minutes of filming it. Or there's a coyote in a trap, and they're filming it, and I'm like, why are you? What's the point of that? Right. I'm like, why don't you just dispatch it? Yeah, like you're supposed to.
Is there a certain amount of time, like you have to let that thing sit in a tree, or like can you just like as soon as it's treed, I think is what they call mountain lions anyway. Yeah, treed. Or a bear when it's treed, like why can't you just shoot it and not like make a video, like get all these cool footages of it? Like, yeah, it's cool. It's great footage. Yeah, but that leads back to publicity and like
exactly. And when
taking the traps.
Oh, the toys come out. Here we go.
I'm gonna put my hand in that thing.
We'll be taking you to the nearest emergency room.
My wife's a nurse.
Oh, so she will be taking you to the nearest emergency room.
That's his excuse for everything. Oh, my wife's a nurse. We're okay. Yeah.
And it comes down to when you have the animals.
Also, I'm going to try and describe these for the best possible for listeners. Yeah. Of what they look like who don't watch the YouTube video. Yeah. So like it may be some, looks like a frog's mouth.
And like you said about, the animals and the being videoed in the traps, I want to touch a little bit on best management practices,
Right.
or BMPs, which you'll learn about. If you take your Successful Fur Takers course, they do touch on BMPs. And best management practices are upgrades and things that trappers and companies have added to or modified on traps to make them as, what's the word I'm looking for? As humane as possible.
Okay.
Yes.
And I don't want that to sound negative in any way, because traps are very humane, as long as you use your best management practices, which are available to everybody. I modify all of my traps.
Okay.
To make them better for what I'm catching, because I have a lot of respect for wildlife, of all wildlife, especially the wildlife that I am pursuing. And in order to have respect for the wildlife that you're pursuing, you need to know them inside and out.
Right. Yep.
And you need to also know what you're doing. It's your duty as a trapper to know the equipment that you need. And if you don't know, ask somebody. So there are lots of different kinds of traps on the market. These are your coil spring traps.
These ones are the ones I was referring to as they look like a frog's mouth, or some might say a shark's mouth with teeth.
They don't. So teeth aren't
teeth.
legal.
Oh, nope. Yep.
Anymore. What you see
I was going
here,
off cartoons.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Cartoons. That's another thing.
Yep.
Cartoons have really shot us in the foot. Traps don't have teeth anymore. You
Okay,
can't-
well, that's good to know.
In Pennsylvania, you cannot use traps with teeth. I can't speak for other states.
The ones up your cabin, I think a lot of them have teeth.
They used
Well,
to, especially bear traps. Bear
Yeah.
traps have teeth.
Okay.
Yeah, because mine were little, but I have to really look at them now,
Yeah.
because I don't know if some of
Look
them
at 'em
have
next time.
teeth
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah.
What's here that looks like teeth, that's just a double jaw. That's just to give you a little extra security, because this is a mink and muskrat trap and their legs are little.
Yeah.
So that's to give you just some extra insurance on your traps.
Do you know how much pressure is behind that when it closes?
I do not.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Yeah. Thank you.
I do not know. I can.
He wants to know, he's like, am I going to lose a finger if I do this?
No. You're not going to lose a finger. And see, people, a great misconception that people have is that they think that an animal's paw has the same type of feeling that we have in our hands. And that's simply not true. They walk around on them all the time. They take them all over rocks, through snow and ice and in the water especially. And they don't feel like that, like our hands. Like if we shut our hand on a car door, yeah, it's going to hurt. But an example that I like to give, and I learned this when I did a presentation with Emil Stanger. He's a teacher and he's a great presenter, and we do educational presentations together at the Wildlife Leadership Academy each year. But a great comparison to what the animal feels while he's caught in the trap is if you just take your elbow and you bend it and you pinch the skin on your elbow as hard as you can. Try to make it hurt.
The weenus.
Yes, your weenus. As hard as you can, pinch it.
I don't feel anything.
I don't feel a thing.
You feel pressure, but you don't feel pain.
Okay.
That's what they feel. It's real common to walk up to a fox or a coyote asleep in your set. So they're not in pain, and people talk about broken legs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Broken legs should not happen. There should be no injury like that to the animal if your traps are up to date.
Right.
A great way to give the animal stability or I should say movability.
Flexibility, movability?
Flexibility while it's in your trap.
They're all abilities.
Yes, they are all ability. Adding swivels to your chain. There's swivel points, and while that animal it's anchored to the ground, but while that animal's in your trap, it can twist and twist and twist.
So like when you see coyotes, when a coyote... That's a little ASMR action for everyone.
Yep. Trapping ASMR.
So when you see a coyote...
I'll write that down. Clip that down quick.
Yeah, clip that. When you see a coyote, the big thing is people walk up to coyotes, like Ethan was talking about. You see them moving around, that's what you're talking about when you movability, flexibility, that kind of stuff. You want to be able to move around that.
Yes, and they can move. And when you have your traps anchored in the ground, a good rule that I tell people, especially when you're coon trapping, because they can flex their hands like we can, is that I don't ever set any of my dog proofs within a 3-foot radius of anything that they can grab onto, because they can grab it and they can pull, and they can pull out of the trap if they want to. And that's also good because you don't want them getting tangled, because if debris and stuff gets all clogged up in these swivels, then they can't move.
Okay.
So you want to and that's why it's good to check your traps every 24 hours because you can maintenance them if they need to. If you see your cable wire might be frayed, you can replace that.
Yeah.
So that an animal would not be able to get away if they were caught in your set, stuff like that. And checking your equipment and knowing your equipment, knowing the animal you're going after is very important because like this is for minke muskrat and smaller raccoons. This is for beaver.
Okay.
Same style trap, just for a different animal.
Yeah. And then that one there, the other one you had in your hand there, the paw one.
This is a dog proof.
Okay, because I saw 2 of those in the woods one time with dog food inside of it. What's that one mostly made for there?
So this one is specifically for raccoons because they can use their paws like we can. Like we can use our hands. They have a good dexterity. There's a trigger in the bottom of this cylinder, and when you put the bait in, you want to make sure that it's under the trigger, but they reach the whole way down in there and they pull on it, and when they pull up on the trigger, they set the trap off. So
for that, would you see food above the trigger in any situation?
I've heard of some people filling it the whole way to the top.
Yeah.
But by that time, when the coon's eating all that and they get down to the trigger, they're probably not hungry anymore. So you want to entice them by they have to reach under that trigger to get the food to get it out.
Okay.
You can fill it up as much as you want, but I find that that's the most effective method because then they have to reach past the trigger.
Okay. Because the 2 I saw, the food was like almost up to the brim of that thing.
Yeah. Like I would. Sometimes I'll leave like 1 or 2 pieces on the ground just to give them a little taste because it's really important that whatever you put in the dog proof has to taste and smell good to the raccoon because he's going to come up and he's going to take a little and if it burns his mouth, if he doesn't like it, if it doesn't taste good, like if it's some manufactured lure that's made to smell good but it doesn't have any good taste components in it, he's going to leave. But like some people use sardines, and I'll tell people make sure you get sardines in oil, not sardines in hot sauce.
They have sardines in hot sauce?
Yeah, and mustard, I think.
Well, I don't eat sardines.
I don't either.
So I find them gross. People order them on pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad likes sardines on pizza.
Your dad.
I'm judging your dad right now. I'm sorry.
Judged.
Don't judge my dad.
I'm judging.
Judged.
No. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, he is. He's gonna watch this, ain't he?
He is gonna watch this.
Judge, sir.
What's your go-to bait for raccoons? Because you said your main go-to is raccoons, beaver, all that kind of stuff. So like, you brought some bait with you.
Absolutely.
Do we get to taste it? Like, is it tasteable?
Not for human consumption.
Not for human consumption.
Are we talking food grade here?
Like if a restaurant came in and was like, "Hey, can we put this in our menu?"
Are you a raccoon?
Yes, that'd be the number one question when you enter the door. Are you a raccoon?
No. Table for 3?
So these are my 3 favorite baits for raccoons.
Right. Okay.
This is Kellen's Black Label Shellfish Bait. I don't think you want to eat raw shellfish, especially if you have a shellfish allergy.
So,
does anybody have a shellfish allergy?
No.
I'm allergic to jackfruit. So if there's no jackfruit in there, I'm good.
I don't think there is.
Okay.
I don't think I'm allergic to anything.
I found that out. So funny story that these 2 connect kind of.
Yeah.
So shellfish, oh God.
Is that liquid? Oh God! Please don't puke.
It smells like fish.
It smells like a mixture of like almost like Old Bay. Mm-hmm. Like I smell Old Bay in there.
Dog food.
Kind of, yeah.
I get a dog food smell for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't like a.
Just don't want to spill it on me.
Yeah.
Weird dog.
So we went down to Florida one time. We drove down there all through the night. Went down there. Went to a restaurant. I went to order. I still get them mixed up. Scallops and oysters. I got them mixed up. I think I ordered oysters, but I meant to order scallops. Like I looked at the menu. I drove like 18 hours down there. I looked at the menu and it was like, I saw oysters, and I was like, yeah, that's scallops in my head. Oh, that actually doesn't smell bad though.
Yeah.
Like that smells like my cabin for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Your cabin smells like Carmen's raccoon bait?
I don't know. It has like a
They
whiff
should
of it.
sell that stuff in an air freshener. I'd put it in my house. I love that smell.
That ain't bad.
That smells like dog food.
It
looks like dog food too.
Right.
You'll really like the next one.
It's dog food.
It is dog food.
So we can eat that one.
I'll feed my dogs this.
I had dog treats before.
It smells really good.
He's gonna.
If you want to eat it, that's up to you.
Like, is there anything else mixed with it?
It's doused in cherry juice.
Oh, then I'm probably gonna love it. All right, here we go, folks. This is a little
Coon Crunch. Ooh.
What would Gordon Ramsay say?
has no flavor at all.
Really?
There's no flavor to it.
Really?
I smell.
Try it.
No.
Try it.
No. I'm okay.
Try it.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
There's no flavor. It tastes like a organic, like fruit bar. That has no flavor to it.
You're not wrong.
Thank you.
I'm waiting. Give
There's a
it.
little bit at the end.
A little bit. Like I can definitely taste the cherry. Mm-hmm. I can definitely taste cherry, but I'm not going to do any of that stuff.
I wouldn't at skunk.
Oh, good. Good. Good.
Yeah, this is that's fish oil with skunk essence in it, and I put skunk essence in it because when you're
smells like Ethan when he came home from work a few times.
Ugh. When you're trapping.
Oh yeah, really. It did smell like me.
Especially like in the winter when it's cold. If you add skunk essence, it'll make the longevity of your smell. It'll increase it because the cold diminishes the smell of your lure. So if you add the skunk essence, it'll give it a little bit longer life.
So how long does would the smell stay there? Do you have like a rough idea?
It all depends
how cold
on
it is?
How cold it is, the weather conditions, if it pours rain, if it snows, all that, comes down to how long it lasts.
Okay. Because they say the same thing with like if you put in like mock scrape stuff. It'll only last for so long.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's cherry.
It smells like Play-Doh.
What? I've never had that.
Sweet coon. Oh yeah, I get a Play-Doh smell now. I'm not gonna lie.
Play-Doh?
We're giving you all kinds of new.
We are.
You guys really are.
Yeah, I definitely smell Play-Doh. Reminds me of childhood.
This is my favorite
Flashbacks.
of all time. I will never make a coon set without this lure.
Oh really?
You can't even smell it out of there. Yes, this is Boar's Delight by Blackie's Blend. It's a coon gland lure that's specifically attractive to boar coons, and that's what you want. You want the big male coons, big prime coons.
I didn't realize that they were like I just called raccoons like a male and female. Like, do they have?
Yeah. So males are boars, females are sows.
It's just like bears.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a bear.
They're like mini bear.
Mini bear.
Why did that one smell so much worse?
You
that
got
time.
It is
that
gland.
was a big whiff.
Gland is not the most pleasant.
I wish there was like I told before. I wish there was like something we could send the smells to the listeners.
That's okay. I'll give you.
Scratch and sniffs.
This is a good finisher. This is
good.
called Moonshine.
I love finishers.
Like molassesy, kind of.
Yeah. Molassesy. I can't even say it. Yeah, that. Yeah. Oh, what else does it smell like? It smells like almost
kind of vanilla.
like a cover-up scent. Like you put on like when you go out in the woods, like Dead Downwind or another brand. Yeah, smells like something you put on like almost like like the wafers, the scent wafers for deer.
Yeah.
You put on yourself. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
That was cool right there.
Yeah,
Cool scents.
Some other ones, but
cool traps.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, let's do what we're gonna try doing now. We did like debate conversation starters. So there was an article that just came out. It was April 2nd, 2023. It involves Utah. I'm going to read the article best I can. Wasn't always. I'm not great at reading. You know.
Good at reading?
No, it's all right.
I'm pretty good at reading.
No, it's all right. I got it.
Okay, that's fine.
How will year-round hunting and trapping impact Utah's mountain lions? So off the bat, like you read the article title, and it's like, all right, so year-round mountain lion hunting. Why is this? So year-round cougar hunting and trapping in Utah takes effect in May, and amid conservationists concerned about decreased population, increasing human puma conflicts, and harmed ecosystems. A new law designed as HB 469 in 2023 Utah legislative session includes various amendments concerning land sales, trail cameras, and other wildlife-related issues, which we already talked about trail cams on the podcast.
About 100 million times.
The original bill made no changes. Wow, see? Hooked on Phoenix. Regarding cougar management. But within the last few days of season, Senator Scott D. Sandel introduced language that removes permit requirements for taking mountain lions. So We're getting an increase in our cougar member numbers across the state. Sandel said, we have a program in place. This replaces the program for harvesting cougars and allows cougars to be taken year-round with hunting license. Previously, cougar season for most areas typically opened in November and closed at the end of May. Hunters were limited to take 2 mountain lions, according to the Utah Division, and trapping cats was not allowed. There was no other discussion of the change, and the revised bill passed both houses. Governor Spencer Cox signed it into law March 17th. For some conservation and hunting groups, it will go into effect May 3rd. So it sounds to me like they signed into effect that mountain lions can be harvested and trapped year-round now. Almost like coyotes. Mm-hmm. And I read there, I think the Utah population, they average about 2,000 mountain lions out there in Utah. Mm-hmm. And like I said, you can take 2 per year. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's per hunter when you apply for a tag to take a mountain lion. So you can either start or you can end it, or Ethan and I can start here. And what are our thoughts on it?
So I think that in a situation like that, it is really important to enact what I like to call, and what I have heard Delta Waterfowl call, voluntary restraint.
Okay.
Just because you can, just because you have the tag, doesn't mean that you have to or that you should.
Right.
It's in every hunter, every outdoorsman's duty to know their area, to be familiar with, what's going on around them, and to decide when they go out in pursuit of game if it is in the wildlife's best interest. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people get stuck on the fact that hunting is, to please the people, and everything is, to make hunters happy. Well, wildlife comes first. Right. Wildlife will always come first. Mm-hmm. And I think people miss that, and I think people get really upset when opportunities are taken away. And that's okay. Everybody's entitled to how they feel about, I understand the people, especially like when they took away the rifles for fall turkey season, there was a good uproar about that.
Oh yeah.
And I can see it from both sides, and that's also really important when you get to talking to people about stuff that may be a touchy subject, like the rifles in fall turkey season, that you can see it from both sides. Because I've been berated online by grown people about the fall turkey season, and they just can't see the other side, that the wildlife will always come first. It's not you can grieve about your loss of opportunity all you want, but when it comes down to it, if we don't change what we need to change now, you will have no opportunity at all. Yep. You got to give a little bit to get what you want.
Right. Yeah.
I think that goes into, especially like social media now. You got that instant gratification. You want it, and you want it now. Right. That doesn't fly in the world of wildlife management.
No. So another thing they said was like, I think the argument was, we're letting politicians who don't know the science decide when the season is, when really we're basing this off science, and now they're basing it off of the money in their pocket. So like, yeah, you don't have to buy a permit, but yeah, you're also, by opening the season to these mountain lions, because I know people are drawn to hunting mountain lions now. They want to go bow hunting for a mountain lion. They want to tree that mountain lion. They want to shoot that mountain lion. And now they're giving them the opportunity to do it in warmer weather, where it's like you don't have to dress as warm. You don't have to worry about heavy snow. You don't have to do this. Like, they're worried about the money that's going to bring in from tourists. Right. I think, like, people from PA going out to Utah to hunt mountain lions year round. People from Texas going up there to hunt mountain lions, places where mountain lions, and I don't know if there's mountain lions in Texas, so I can't really say that, but places where mountain lions aren't known to be. Right. And then out in Utah, you can go out there and hunt them whenever. There's no time frame on it. Like, they never said anything about like, oh, you can't hunt them at night. You can't hunt them. You can only hunt them during the day when it's daylight out. They're not coyotes. They're not overpopulated out there. Like PA here, it makes sense for coyotes because they're overpopulated. Like, also no one wants to go out and hunt them. Like, they're not a thing that's drawn hunters to go out and do them. So my concern with it is like, it's yeah, maybe the population does need to be controlled a little bit. I don't know with the mountain lion I don't know how it affects Utah,
right.
you know?
Right.
But when you have an open season for animals, trapping or hunting, doesn't matter. Like, you can't trap them before. Now you can. So now it's like you're hitting them 2 times. You're able to hunt them and trap them.
Right.
So in my mind, it's like we talked about before we got on the podcast, it was like, you know, it's not to destroy a population. And I feel like this here is to destroy a mountain lion population. Like, it's like, we don't care about the population. You know, we think it'll come back every year with 2,000 cougars all the time. But it's
yes.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think you open up this season to everyone going out there.
I hear you.
And it's like, Jesus.
Yeah, and I think bills like that, usually it could have some hidden language in there that might specify and break it down even more, like that you can only use certain methods to trap them, or that you can only trap them in certain areas of Utah, stuff like, or things like that. And I think we also have to take into consideration the success that people will have. I have never been to Utah, but just thinking from a different perspective, if like maybe there hasn't been enough success out in Utah managing these mountain lions, maybe people, you know, just aren't good at it out there. Maybe they need to open it up for a little bit longer so that people have more of an opportunity. Because if you take into consideration how many tags, whitetail tags that we sell in Pennsylvania, versus how many people are actually successful in their harvest of whitetail deer, like tag sales do not reflect harvest rates at all.
Nope.
And the tag sales in Utah probably didn't reflect the mountain lion harvest.
Right.
Because I feel like that's really difficult.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
It's not like, I don't like how, because like they're the one of, if not the top predator out there. You got them. Is there grizzlies out in Utah?
There might be.
If not, mountain lions, they're top of the food chain out there. Like, you ever see like those pictures and they're like, oh, find the snake or find the mountain lion or the leopard in 5 seconds or you're dead. Like one of those on Facebook, like, that's mountain lion. You're not going to see them. You don't.
Right.
Like when you hear people that do harvest a mountain lion, they're using dogs to help. They have the dogs to help them find it and tree it and do whatever they got to do. But it's like, you don't hear anyone going out, I want to go scout for a mountain lion. I'm going to go track this thing 20 miles in the way. Like, you don't hear that.
So in 2020, 2021, there were 702 documented mortalities from hunters hunting cougars.
So that's like less than half of the tags that they sold.
And that's only documented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we know everyone doesn't report their harvest.
Right. Yeah.
So if we're at less than half, it depends on how many. Do we know how often they reproduce and how many they have? I feel like they're just like cats. You can have like how many? You could probably have like a litter of cats, right?
For what, 2 to?
I feel like it. Yeah.
2 to 4 probably is what I'd say would be average for cougars, maybe.
Probably. And if they're the top predator, then they're not like turkeys, where a hen might have 8 to 11 eggs, but only 2 of them survive. You know, you don't have like a poult per hen ratio of mountain lions. So I feel like
I'm gonna look it up.
I feel like.
And that was with a permit. So like that was with, you got to apply for a permit, and like non-residents have to apply for it. And I don't think it was just given to you when you applied for a permit for cougars. So it's like you have to apply for it, and maybe you get drawn for that tag. So like that was with that. Now you're opening up where all you need is a hunting license out there.
How many hunting licenses do they sell?
Yeah, probably a handful. I don't know. But anyway, mountain lions, they actually don't. This is marincounty.org, where I'm getting these facts from. They don't have a definitive breeding season. Mating can take place anytime. So, and it says but they say the majority of the births occur in late winter and early spring, which I guess typical for most mammals. Early spring. 1 to 5.
1 to 5.
1 to 5.
So if they have 5, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
And they're the top predator, so there's not really anything that's going to take them out.
And really, even if you think about it, like if there were grizzlies in Utah, grizzlies aren't going to go after a mountain lion. They're going to go after something else. They're going to go after whitetail, mule deer, you know, whatever else is there. You know, they're not going to go like, oh, I'm hungry, I'm going to go look for a mountain lion today. You know, it's like if a mountain lion and grizzly run across each other, they're most likely like staring each other down as they walk around each other.
Yep.
Like they know they're top dogs and they're not going to mess with each other.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, that's almost like wolves too. Like wolves, I think, will go after a mountain lion because they're pack animals.
Right.
So I think that in Utah there are wolves. So I think that would be their only real concern as being a predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
mountain lions can climb trees and wolves can't, so they have a huge advantage.
Yeah,
plus
absolutely.
Like on the cliff sides and everything, like they can climb all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. It's weird because it's getting political with hunting now because they see the influx of money that it can bring into a state, and because of, you know, you can open up PA legislation can be like, hey, we're going to open up hunting year round. Just because we want all that money to come in.
Yeah, but that would not be the smartest
That
decision
would not be smart at all. No, no way. Because every population would go down. Right. Turkey, deer, bear. I mean, coyotes, I think, would even drop. Like, you can hunt them year round, but, like, if you're out in the woods hunting a deer or a bear or whatever, and you see a coyote, you're more likely to see a coyote during the day in the summer.
Exactly.
Than you are in the winter when you're out there, like...
Exactly. And I think another good point is, you know, when you're hunting coyotes, the fact that it's open year round to hunting, like, the amount of predator hunts that I've been on at night where we called up a coyote and they didn't come in, or it hung up at like 200 yards and wouldn't move, it just sat down. Yeah. Like, they're hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We hunted them in -3 degree weather. That was not fun.
That was not fun.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
We heard them a couple miles away. Yeah. We're like, yeah, we're not waiting for this.
We had a raccoon come in, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was between us, though. Like, for some reason, we sat down below, and there's another group set up high, and the raccoon came between us, so we couldn't shoot the raccoon because we weren't going to shoot at the other guys down below. You know, trying to be smart.
Exactly. Yeah,
but,
that's good.
I mean, location where we sat wasn't smart.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all.
But, you know, it was the thought. They're like, oh, this will be fine.
Yeah.
No, not fine.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just, it concerns me with that bill, you know, and the fact that it's pretty much already passed. Like, it's already put into place. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to population.
Right.
It's, I don't know, it concerns me with every other state, too, because you see every other state doing, like, Utah is in the forefront of almost everything with trail cameras, with hunting season regulations, and then now mountain lions, too. It's like, there's a lot.
It's like they start the trends.
Yeah, they start it.
Utah,
like,
slow down.
Yeah, but I feel like PA, like, our top predator would,
mountain lion.
Yeah. Have you joined the PA Mountain Lions Facebook groups?
I'm the admin. You
should be. Absolutely. They're hilarious. Like, the people on there, I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny.
Another good one to join is the PA Game Commission Conspiracies.
That we stalk coyotes.
Yeah.
No, I don't think.
I've heard a lot of stories about that. Like,
so many just off the wall. People just make things up to make themselves feel better.
Yeah. A chicken truck came across the border with coyotes in the back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, when they released them, when the truck fell, and the monkeys in Danville or whatever, the monkeys got out of the truck. Oh, my goodness. And then they had the monkey hunting licenses on the... Oh, God. That was funny.
I bought one.
You did?
I did.
No way.
Yeah. My monkey's at taxidermist right now.
No way.
It's that serious. It's going to be hanging from the ceiling.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God. No. Anyway, so speaking of the Game Commission reintroducing things, how do you feel about, was it the marten?
I'm so excited about the American marten.
Yep.
And I think people are really kind of being negative about it because they think that it's going to hurt the turkey populations, which fishers don't really hurt the turkey population. They're an opportunistic predator, and most fisher won't even come into contact with a turkey in its lifetime. I know people say, oh, I have trail cam pictures. Well, a couple people with trail cam pictures is not fact.
Yeah.
It's, you know, things do happen. You always have outliers within your data, but it's not enough to decrease the turkey population. I feel like people don't think about what they're doing. They only think about what else is happening out there versus, you know, the people that, you know, kill 2 gobblers every spring. Well, that's gonna take down your turkey population. If you take, you know, if you take the 2, and if you take a hen and or a gobbler in the fall, and you know, but I'm super excited about, because they were originally here, the American marten, just like the fisher, and them being reintroduced, I think would be really awesome. Most of their diet's like insects and berries and nuts and like mice and stuff.
Okay.
So
ticks? Will they eat ticks too? Or don't they eat ticks?
I'm not sure. Also, it's a myth that possums eat ticks, just so you know.
They just eat
what?
They eat the ones that are on them.
Right. That rumor actually came from a lab study done in Virginia in 2009 where they took possums and they brought them into the lab, and the possums, they put them in a box, and the possums ate the ticks off of themselves in grooming, which as most animals do.
Yeah.
And then that was the ground for them saying that possums eat ticks, when in reality possums are a known turkey nest predator, and a nest of turkeys, if you're really lucky, they might have 8 to 11 poults that hatch, and turkeys will eat ticks.
Like the chicken. Like chickens eat turkey.
Chickens,
I mean, not
chickens eat turkeys. Yes.
Right. Chickens don't eat turkeys.
Yes.
Chickens eat. Come on, Cody. Chickens eat ticks. There we go.
There you go.
I got it. I eventually put words together. Yeah.
Yeah, but people, like, I've had people who trap, and they'll tell me, why do you kill the possums?
Yeah.
Because they eat turkey eggs. I mean, I love possums. Possums are probably my favorite fur bearer. I love possums.
They're cool.
They're so cute. I love them so much.
You're like one of the first people outside of me and my wife that are like, they're actually cute little animals.
They're so cool. They're our only marsupial.
Possum?
I love possums.
I would take a pet possum. I would.
I would not. Even though they don't carry...
I would not.
Even though they don't carry rabies, they carry like 11 other parasites that I would rather probably have rabies than catch whatever the possum is carrying.
So they never have rabies?
No, their body temperature is too low to harbor the rabies virus. So possums can't catch rabies, but they can catch a lot of other parasites, and they have diseases that can be especially harmful to like livestock and farm animals. Horses,
Yeah, keep them away from horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, possums and horses don't go well together.
No.
So since you brought up the turkeys too, how they affect turkey population, all that kind of stuff, I know you're a big turkey hunter as well. Before we get back to the traps there, how do you feel about people harvesting 2 turkeys in the spring?
See, I feel like I have a different viewpoint than a lot of people. I don't need, like, I don't need to shoot a turkey every year. Like, I don't need, the only thing that I've ever taken my limit of are squirrels and geese. Okay. That is it. Yeah. I've shot quite a few ducks and squirrels and rabbits, and doves and geese. But I don't need a limit. Right. Like other people will be like, oh yeah, I limited out, 10 days last season. I don't need to do that, and I don't ever find a want to do that. I always like, especially when I'm trapping, like if I catch, a certain amount of raccoon off a property, I'll pull my traps and leave what's called seed for next year, because it's management. It's not eradication. I don't want to trap all the coons off the property. I just want to manage what's there. Yep. And I have yet to shoot a turkey, I'll be honest with you. I spend a lot of my time taking other people turkey hunting. So hopefully this year will be the year. But I respect turkeys a lot. I have a lot of respect for all wildlife, but especially turkeys, because of the comeback that they have made, and they're an incredible bird. But I could never take 2 turkeys in a season, and no negativity to anybody that does, but especially in a time where we were debating whether our turkey populations were going to be okay. We didn't know what was going to happen. In those times, I would specifically use voluntary restraint to not take more than I needed. Absolutely. And like it used to, I believe it was a movement back. I think it was back in the 80s or the 90s when Delta Waterfowl introduced voluntary restraint, when it was waterfowl season and we didn't have a lot of the mallard production was really, really low. Okay. And they would tell hunters, I think they had an ad in their magazine, they would tell hunters to use voluntary restraint and not shoot the hens. And then to try to shoot the drakes, and to not shoot the hens, because the hens, that's your baby factory right there. That's where all your babies are coming from. Yeah. And I've seen things about, people debating on, whether shooting bearded hens in the spring and stuff like that. And that's another thing it comes down to. When you are in pursuit of an animal, it's your duty to know that animal. If you really take the time and you prepare, you clean your gun, you make sure you go and set your gun in, if you have a scope on your shoulder, whatever, you make sure that's all lined up and ready to go. You also have to make sure that you know that you can tell the difference between a hen and a gobbler when you go out in the spring. Even if it has a beard, there are lots and lots of characteristics that you can use to tell the difference between a hen and a gobbler. And I know some people say, hens will strut, hens will gobble. They will, but there's lots of different criteria that you can use.
The head's a big one.
The head is a big one. The head on a hen is very dull,
grayish,
almost. And they have the feathers that come the whole way up to the top of the head. Their body feathers are more brown, they're more dull. They don't have the pronounced major caruncles that you see where the neck meets the head. Their minor caruncles, which is the little skin flaps on their face, they don't really get bright like they do on a gobbler. Even size wise.
Oh yeah.
Hens are smaller than gobblers in every way.
Height.
Yeah, height.
Width. It's just like a gobbler is a lot bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can tell a gobbler from a jake. The beard's a dead giveaway, but also like the size.
Right.
Like I never killed a turkey, but like
I've seen them.
Yeah,
I've seen them.
I've been on plenty of turkey hunts. I've seen lots and lots of turkeys. You can tell the difference, and it only takes a little bit of time and a little bit of care for people to look and say, well, okay, now I know that this and that's how they're different.
Right.
And that's how I can tell them apart. And some people, I think bearded hens are really cool.
Unique, really.
They're very unique.
Very unique.
But like in a population of turkeys, you have your breeding non-nesting hens, your breeding nesting hens, and your non-breeding non-nesting hens. And when you take a hen, you don't know which one you're taking.
Right. Yep.
You have no idea if you're taking one of the only breeding nesting hens in that area.
Yeah. Very true.
And that's what I like to think about when I make the decision for myself that I would not harvest a hen. Even if I was given the opportunity, I would not do that just because I know that I could be, doing something that, might not help me in the future, in my future endeavors in turkey hunting that property.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the reason I brought that up is because that's been my biggest gripe, honestly, since one, I haven't gotten turkey at all. I haven't had really a chance to get a turkey. I've been in the areas where they're gobbling, but haven't had the opportunity to do. But you see all these people, and it goes back to what we said earlier in the podcast of, people using it as clickbait and, just trying to get those instant gratification. It's how the population is. The population is down. So why do you have to get two? What is the need? Why do you need that?
Right. And some people, I know people love turkey hunting, and they kill 2 gobblers every year. It's fun. It's the most fun that I've ever had. There's nothing that beats it.
Yeah.
Mr. Whitetail over there.
Putting an arrow. I haven't put an arrow through anything, but putting something through a whitetail, including in front of your truck, is pretty cool. Just kidding.
Yeah, as long as you have a push bar.
Yes.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I would love to get a turkey. I love the whole thing is the reason I like elk. I haven't gone elk hunting, but I like elk because they bugle. Turkeys, they gobble. It's that whitetail. Yes, I heard some grunt. I heard
at you.
Yeah, I hear that stuff in the woods.
Stomp.
Yeah, yeah. Oh God. But it's that communication back and forth. You are trying to communicate with this animal.
Right.
And whitetails, it's in PA here. If you go out west, if you go down Texas, if you go down south, you could probably grunt at them, have some kind of communication with them. But turkeys and elk, you communicate with these animals. That's the coolest part.
And that also comes down to knowing your animal and knowing what you're pursuing and knowing what calls not to use, what decoys to use or not to use, depending on your situation, depending on the time of year it is, and yeah.
It's good to know that there's actually a phrase for the grouse, with the turkey, grouse population took a hit, especially up north, right? My dad loves grouse hunting. When we go out small game hunting, usually I'm the one that shoots the squirrels. He shoots the grouse. That's just kind of how it goes. But we knew the grouse population took a huge hit up there. There was a year we saw maybe one grouse on the property around the area. Mm-hmm. We'd see them go. They'd take off flying. Wouldn't even raise the gun. Mm-hmm. We would just be happy as shit. There's a grouse. Right. Mm-hmm. We saw one. We're happy. Or my dad would see two together. Oh, man. You would think he actually shot them because he was so happy that he saw them.
Right. Yeah.
So now it's nice to know there's a voluntary restraint. Yeah. I can go to, hey, Dad, guess what? We practice voluntary restraint.
Yes. And that is, like, I think, to me, that's an extremely respectable quality in somebody who pursues game in the outdoors. Mm-hmm. I like that's a quality of somebody that I would go hunting with because like I've been hunting with people who don't use that restraint, and like for me personally, and it happens to everybody, if I am hunting and a situation comes up where I am not able to retrieve something or I count that as my limit. Like that, like if I would not be able to retrieve, a squirrel if it fell in a hole in a tree or something like that, that counts as one of my limit. I don't go and shoot another one. It's not you shoot 6 squirrels but you hit 12 and you've retrieved 6. Right. Like if I go out and I shoot something and I can't retrieve it, that's 1. And now I have 5.
Right. Yeah.
I knew I liked you. I did that exact same thing. Well, I was up at your cabin. It was when they open up squirrel season in September, which I'm not going to lie, if you want to go out and start, I'm not going to stop. But I'm not the biggest fan. It's too hot. They still had all them maggots and shit all over them and everything. It's like, no, because I've went out when it was warm out with him, and I shot one, and I was like, I can't do anything with this thing. It was disgusting. Instead of just pitching it and not counting, I counted that as my limit for that day. I was like, well, this is 1. I'm not going to not count it. Right. Right. Or even hunting down home here, we'll go out for squirrel. I'll go out for squirrel sometimes, and they have this one area, it's nothing but thorns. I mean, you wouldn't. I wouldn't walk through it if I was in a metal steel suit, and I still wouldn't want to walk through this stuff, right? But I saw a squirrel in a tree in the middle of these thorns. I know I can get it, but I'm not going to be able to retrieve it. So I just watch it.
Right.
It's
right. And
I'll let that one go.
Yeah. And if I see a squirrel that's, over a hole on a tree that's just looking at me, I'm not going to shoot it because I know it's going to go in the hole. Yep. Stuff like that. And it happens to everybody at some point. You shoot something and some unforeseen circumstance may come up and you may not be able to retrieve it. A bad shot may have been made. Something malfunctioned with your firearm. Anything can happen. But I think it's important. That's also part of voluntary restraint, is knowing that, I don't have that. I could shoot another one, but I'm not going to. And I think pushing the concept of integrity, especially in the world of social media, is super important. It's vital, because people will take videos and pictures of everything and anything and post them online. And it's important to do the right thing, even when nobody's watching. Even when you don't think that your buddy is filming you behind you and he's going to post it on your Snapchat story. It's important to always, and especially doing stuff like this, using the right language and terminology with people, not, I don't refer to hunting or trapping as a sport because that gives the wrong connotation. I don't refer to anything as a trophy because that gives a wrong connotation, not to people who hunt, but to people who don't. Right. And I would rather have people that don't sort of neutral, or that they agree, rather than negative, because I said the wrong thing. So I always try to watch, terminology, especially speaking to kids, because they repeat everything.
Everything. 100%.
But
yeah, I mean, I like to connect with you guys on squirrels, but really
he doesn't.
I shot one squirrel 6 times. So
what?
Yeah, one squirrel 6 times.
Why?
It was stuck in a tree. I didn't want to come down. I had to shoot it 6 times to get it out of the tree.
I wasn't around for that one.
It kept holding on.
I was there, but I was away.
Huh. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. He doesn't small game hunt.
I don't.
Clearly.
He's getting embarrassed. Look at him. Look at his face.
I can't. I don't. I need to teach you.
I don't go small game hunting anymore after that.
That's...
Yeah.
That's good voluntary restraint.
Yeah,
right.
You're learning
exactly.
something too.
See, I'm like, hey, if the squirrel doesn't want to cooperate and come out of the tree when I shoot it once or twice, then I'm just not going to go out swamp game hunting anymore.
There you go.
Yeah.
You just let me do it.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it. I'll bring over the squirrel pot pie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff.
That's so good.
It's good. It's good when you don't have to make it.
That's true.
When my grandma made it the one time I was up the cabin, like I shot like 4 squirrels before I could actually hunt whitetails or anything like that. Before my dad took me out whitetail hunting, put it that way. And it was like disgusting in the house. Like it was gross. I was like, I'm never going squirrel hunting again.
Oh man.
Like this is terrible.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So we had some listener questions here.
Okay.
Let's see if I can pull them up.
Okay.
We like listener questions.
I think it's them too, actually. Yeah, I'll just go to that right there. If I can find it. There we go. All right. So, how long do you keep a set in the ground?
That's a difficult question because something that's really important about trapping is that it's all personal preference and every situation is different. It's all situational.
Right.
So, like, and it also depends on what I'm trapping. Like, if I'm trapping beaver and I set on sign, but the sign is old and there's no new activity after 2 or 3 days, I'm gonna move it.
Okay.
If it's like a fox or coyote set and I am checking it every day and there's paw prints on the pan in the dirt and I've had them come and poop next to my set but not get caught. It's a good feeling. It's great. I love it. But then I would probably leave it there because they know it's there and they're interested, but I don't think they quite know that it's a set. And it also depends on where you're at. And if they dig it up, you move it because it probably smells like people. That's why I didn't bring any fox and coyote traps, because if they smell like people or if they smell like what we just smelled, like I can smell it on my hands. If the traps smell like food or bait or lure or anything, they will dig them up.
What's a season goal you keep every year? Like, do you set certain goals every year for like how many raccoons you want to get, or like beavers, or like anything like that? Or do you want to catch one of everything every year or something like that?
It really depends on the opportunities that I have based on, if I get any new permissions at the beginning of the season. Typically, I like to catch, my goal is usually 20 coon a season.
Okay.
Sometimes, some seasons I have the opportunity to beaver trap, some seasons I don't. It all depends on how much time that I have available. Because, like I said, you got to check them by law every 36 hours. Well, if I'm working and I'm trapping on the river, then I got to check them by boat.
Yeah, I know one spot that I would definitely put a beaver trap at, but like to get back in there, it's like, first of all, from here it's 45 minutes away. Then you got to walk at least 2 hours into this piece of public. So it's like, that's a lot.
Yeah. And then
That's
you
a
got to
lot.
take them home and drop them off your fur shed, and then you got to have them to skin and put up your fur.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that that's probably my favorite part about trapping is putting up my fur. And I think a lot of people they shy away from trapping because they don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And they think it's complicated. But it's really not. I've put up fur outside and hung them up like by a ratchet strap as like a makeshift gambrel and skun them with a Havalon and a tail stripper. Like it's not difficult and it doesn't take a lot of tools to do, and it's fairly, there's a whole lot of YouTube videos on fur handling, and if you're in Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Trappers Association, most districts host a trapper training school every year, and you can go and watch all the presentations, and typically they'll do fur handling demonstrations and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah. What was the first animal you trapped?
A raccoon.
A raccoon. Is
Yes.
that why you like catching raccoons so much?
Probably, because I was 8 years old. So when I was 8, I was pretty small. I was like this tall. The coon,
Yeah.
I have a picture of me holding the raccoon. It's almost as big as I am.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is great.
Yeah.
Was it a boar or sow?
it was a boar.
Was it? Okay. And that's the kind
And a
you
dog proof.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. So that's what you that's still what you go after is raccoons. Like that's your favorite thing to catch.
Yes, beaver is my favorite.
Yeah.
Beavers, that tops everything else.
Yeah.
For raccoons, like that's a close second.
Yeah.
Beaver trapping, there's just something about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
You're out in the icy water, and you're in the water, and you got big old traps that you're dealing with. Like this was a beaver trap. This is a conibear 330.
Oh yeah.
These are dangerous.
That looks complicated as hell. Not gonna lie.
Kind of.
To me, right now, it looks like a bunch of just wires like mixed together.
So this wire would be it's just to stabilize your trap.
Okay.
But these are the springs.
Okay. Jesus.
And they open.
Okay.
And when the trap is set. Whoopsies.
Taking out the mic.
Sorry.
Trapping the mic.
Move this away. So when the trap is set, it'll look like this, kind of, except these springs will be compressed.
Okay.
And it'll look just like this, except the springs will be compressed. And this trigger is what the animal... So these traps are called conibear traps, and in Pennsylvania, they only may legally be set within the bounds of a waterway. They may not be set on land for fur bearer trapping. And they're designed to... break the neck when they come in or out of the trap. So if you set this in front of like a muskrat hole in the bank, or if you set it on the bottom of a beaver slide where it meets the water, the whole point is that they're going to go through here, and when they go through here, they're going to set that off, and then the trap is going to close on them, and this is how it looks when it's closed. So the whole goal is for like the neck to be here.
I was like, man, I don't want that to go off somehow.
No, it's not set. No.
I feel like you're very professional with it, but it's like, oh my God, like.
You need special tools to set this.
Yeah. Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. These, I invite you to try to squeeze the springs if you try.
Which one? Where's?
Try to squeeze that together.
Squeeze this together?
Yeah, just try to squeeze it together.
Nope, not gonna happen.
Yep.
Nope.
They're very strong.
That hurt my chest a little bit.
This is this is a Belial. Well, that's the brand name.
Okay.
But they are deadly, and you would use something like this. Something like this is for the size conibear trap, like this. Like I could set this trap with these conibear setters.
Yeah.
These, I have a pair of locking setters that are probably 3 times this size.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in cold water, most beaver trappers will carry a special tool with them if they're trapping. If they were to get their arm caught in a conibear or something, you have a special tool and a rope that you wrap around the spring to pull and to release your arm if you were to get caught, God forbid.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that right there could probably break your finger.
Yeah, so
maybe hand.
This is designed to break bone.
Yep.
Wow. That okay. All right, yeah, I don't want to run across that thing.
Yes.
Oh, no way.
I would not either.
No. Absolutely not.
This would break your arm if you got it caught in it. This is not a trap to fool around with.
No, absolutely not.
The traps deserve to be respected, and I find it disrespectful with the people that they make the videos trying to put their hands in traps and stuff. They're
I haven't seen any of those, but wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So how far in? So do you put on public, private? Do you have private farms that you usually hunt or trap on?
I have a couple permissions on private farms to trap, but I also trap out on the river, on the Susquehanna River.
Okay.
I also get people that ask me to come and trap their properties. Yeah. Which is really nice.
Yeah.
Well, so that takes out the scouting aspect of it for me. I don't have to go knock on doors. I just have to check my Facebook Messenger sometimes.
Yeah.
But and when people hear that I trap, then they're like, "Oh, I have beavers." I'm like, "You have beavers? Sign me up. Sign me up."
Yep.
But yeah, I've got a good couple properties, private properties that I've had permission to trap since I was 8 that I go back to every year.
Okay.
So it's really nice, especially when you are able to trap properties like that continuously year after year, and you're able to see the growth. Like, it wasn't this past season, but the season before, my dad and I saw a flock of 50 turkeys across the road when we were going to check our traps onto the farm that I've trapped since I was 8. Never seen turkeys there before, ever.
What?
Ooh.
It was insane.
So now did you ask permission on that property that's across the street?
I did not.
Are you going to? Is that something you're going to do?
Possibly.
I think that'd be good.
She's like, yes.
That could get a turkey under your belt.
Yes.
Real quick.
I have quite a few good connections to go turkey hunting.
Yeah.
So, and I've got a couple good properties to turkey hunt on.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest like positives for you with trapping is like you going on those properties to get rid of nuisance animals, kind of, you know, like raccoons, beavers, you know, they could be nuisance to people.
Yes, they could be nuisance. And like if the raccoons are getting in somebody's chicken coop and stuff like that, you know, that makes happy landowners, happy trappers.
Yep.
Yep.
And if you're doing favors for them, and they're gonna like you, and they tell their neighbor. They say, "Oh, well, so and so is trapping for me." Oh, well, I have raccoons in my, and then it just goes on and on. Word of mouth is super powerful, especially between people who are landowners.
Yep.
And if you do a really good service for them, they're likely to recommend you.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the hardest things is finding access to properties.
Right.
As just purely whitetail hunters.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, I'll come on your property and hunt some deer, like if they're damaging your property, but then you have like, if you go on in the mindset of, okay, let's trap on this property first. Like, just be like, go on there, be like, hey, let me get rid of some maybe nuisance animals like rabbits, coons, skunks, maybe, all that kind of stuff, like things that you would trap, you know, and they'd be like, okay, yeah, like that's fine. But then it could lead to more opportunities with turkey hunting, with whitetail hunting, with small game hunting, waterfowl, you know, you name it, it could lead to that. And I think that would be, for a lot of us hunters, it could open up doorways to places.
And I think it's really important, especially if you're walking up to somebody's door, that you know, if you're going to ask for trapping permission, especially, have a trap with you. Because if you knock on somebody's door and an 80-year-old woman opens the door and she's never seen a trap in her life and you ask her to trap her property, if she doesn't understand, she's probably going to say no. But if you take the time to explain it to her and not be pushy, then she might be more lenient, or say, oh, my husband used to trap when he was, or something like that. You always have traps with you, and make sure, that's another thing, in your terminology, you want to be up to par, and know what you're talking about, and know the right words to say, the words that will appropriately describe what you're trying to talk about. And that can help you a lot, because if, you know, you walk up and you're unprofessional, you know, if you go to ask permissions and you're, you know, you're covered in mud, and that's not going to look great to a landowner. But if you walk up and, you know, you got a nice t-shirt and jeans and cowboy boots on, and you walk up and you introduce yourself, and I've heard people like going up to people, like they find them on X and then they like call them by name when they open the door, like that seems weird.
Kind of weird.
That's weird. Like, how do you know my name? I would say no.
Right.
So I'd be like, hi, I'm, and I was wondering, you know, shake their hand.
Yep.
Make them, build a relationship with them. Like, if they are really interested, you know, bring them, offer to bring them a tan pelt of yours. That's what I do with that's what a lot of people do, and I tan quite a few of my pelts as well, because, you know, prices are down, but I also donate the majority of my fur.
I was going to ask you that too. I was like, what do you do with everything?
Yeah, I don't sell my fur anymore. I'm not in it for the money. If I was, I would be very, very broke. Yeah. Trapping is expensive, but it's well worth it.
So the one question that kind of is connected to that is, how do you deal with the low prices of the fur and high prices of expenses? What are some ways you make it work?
So especially like back when gas prices were terrible.
Still kind of terrible.
Yeah, they are still kind of
Especially if you have a truck.
Yeah. I'm lucky my Ranger gets like 18 miles to the gallon, so we're good there. But I like to try to keep it closer to home, checking my traps. I might not go out to my properties that I have that are farther away. And that's really the only, like most stuff is a one-time expense in trapping, and that's what people don't really look at. Like my traps, this trap will last me the rest of my life. Legally, you are only allowed to possess 10 beaver traps in the state of Pennsylvania, and only 8 of them can be footholds, 2 of them can be body gripping traps. So, you know, you buy 8 of these and you're set to beaver trap for the rest of your life, unless you lose one or something gets damaged or something like that. And you know, they're steel. Like I've had traps run over with tractors, and then you have to buy a replacement. Yeah. But it's a one-time cost. Yeah. Really, and lures and stuff. they aren't super expensive, depending on what you buy. But that you shouldn't be going through a whole ton of lure, so that's not a really big cost. Probably my biggest cost is gas and interchangeable blades for my Havalon, because I go through like one per raccoon blades. So, but yeah, those are my biggest
gas
costs.
And I mean, if you don't have that far away property.
Yeah, if you have your own property, there's no gas cost.
Right.
So it's a one-time cost, and you can help decrease the amount of money that you're putting out by going to, if there is a trapping supply dealer near you, like if you live in near Sunbury, there's Mace's Furs and Trapline Supplies. If you're near Enola, there's Johnson's Furs. If you're up in Lewistown, Corolla's Trapping Supply. If you're in Richfield, Chubb's Trapping Supplies. I don't want to forget anybody.
It's a lot of pressure right now.
If you're in Schuylkill County, there's Epler Fur and Matt Brophy. He's awesome. He'll help you out with literally anything you need. All the businesses I said they're small businesses. I personally know all of them, and they're good stand-up people. They do a lot for the kids. They do a lot for the Trappers Association, and if you go to their shop, it gives you an opportunity to ask questions. So you don't have to pay shipping, because a box of a dozen traps is heavy.
Oh yeah, how heavy is that one? Oh yeah, that would be heavy.
Yeah, a dozen of them.
A dozen of those. That would be.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty heavy.
Yeah. And building relationships like that, because typically trapping supply dealers may also buy fur.
Yeah.
And depending on what they're looking for, the better your fur quality, the higher price that you will be paid. Even if it's not, fur prices aren't what they used to be, but they're better than they were.
Right.
Yeah.
And like if you're at a fur sale and somebody's there buying for a certain purpose, like for taxidermy, people typically, I've seen that they will pay more if they're buying for taxidermy purposes.
Okay.
If you have the quality fur that they want. And that's another important thing is trapping. I don't set any traps till after Thanksgiving, because that's when it gets cold and the fur gets prime.
Oh, yes.
And that's what people are looking for. If you intend to sell your fur, you want to make sure that you have the best quality fur possible.
Right.
You want to make sure you're showing up to that fur buyer with the best that you possibly can. You want to make sure that you have educated yourself in putting up your fur nicely, that you stretch your fur nice, that you take care of it, you wipe all the grease off your coons, so you flesh it real nice. And we use Blue English fleshing systems, which is a very, very good quality fleshing knife. But our coons are fleshed very clean, and my dad and I have gotten lots of compliments on putting up fur. And my dad's who I learned to handle fur from, and he's incredible. Like I love spending time in the shed with him putting up fur, because I learn something new from him every time I go out. Yeah. And I mean, like he's awesome. Yeah.
This goes to you, Dad.
This goes to you,
yeah.
Dad.
Thanks, Dad. But yeah.
So what we love hearing stories about like a hunt or a trap, a trap line you set or anything like that. Like, what's the most epic? Like, was there ever a trap line you set where it was like everything you checked, it was just like hit after hit after hit? Or was there a hunt or like someone you take out turkey hunting that stands out to you the most, or time in the duck blind or goose hunting or something like that? Was there that one moment where it's like this, and then tell us that story? I want to hear that story.
So, my dad is a little backstory. My dad is the director of District 8 of the Pennsylvania Trappers Association. He works very, very hard. And since he took over a position as director, we haven't had a whole lot of time to hunt together. We trap together and we fish together, but we haven't had a whole lot of time to hunt together, because waterfowl season overlaps trapping season, and that's a lot for him to do on top of district stuff. And this year for Christmas, he got me him and I a guided hunt on the river with Geese at Your Feet outfitters, so that we could go waterfowl hunting for the first time ever together. And it was...
Wait, first time ever?
First time ever together.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was on New Year's Eve day.
Oh.
And we were out on the river. It was real dense fog, and it was supposed to be a diver duck hunt, because I wanted to shoot a diver to get it mounted. And we were out there. We got out there early, and I was so excited. I was terribly excited, because my dad, he's my best friend. I look up to him for everything. And it meant the world to me because he used to duck hunt, and like I would go duck hunting with buddies or people that I knew, and I would come home and tell him the story, but he wasn't there, so it wasn't the same. But that he got to go with me, I was like, oh, I gotta get something. So we were out there and we were sitting, and all the divers they were out way too far, and they wouldn't commit. But lo and behold, about 9:30, I look up. There's one lone goose, and this goose. He flew across the river, and then the guide starts calling, and this goose comes back around right over top of us. I shot, and the goose fell. Biggest goose I've ever seen. And my dad was like, well, you got that one. That's the best hunting memory that I have. Yeah. I was ecstatic because, like, the one day I was out with some friends, and we shot, like, it was a 5-man limit of geese. You know, I had the geese, but I didn't have, my dad wasn't there. Like I could tell him all the stories I want, but he wasn't there. Like, he wasn't there for my first black duck, or my first wood duck. But I got them, they're in my bedroom. They're mounted, beautiful. Yeah. And he's stepping down as director this year. Okay. So for Easter, which I don't know when this is going to come out, hopefully after Easter, but it's supposed to arrive. Yeah, it's going to be after Easter. Supposed to arrive today at my house, which I'm really nervous. I ordered us an Avian X G blind to go goose hunting because since he's stepping down, he's getting into waterfowl hunting with me because I begged him. I was like, I'll buy you a gun, I'll buy you ammo, I'll buy your duck stamp. I don't care. Just go. I just want you to go. Yeah. And slowly the Amazon packages and the cut 'em down waterfowl packages have been rolling in, and he's texting me, asking me questions. Do we want hens in our canvasback decoy spread? Stuff like that. Yes. And so and he's got back pain and stuff. He's got trouble with layout blinds. So I figure, like the G blind's kind of like an A-frame, but like the top is open and it's kind of like slanted in the front. Okay. So I'm hope that's his Easter present. So I hope that. You gonna put it like in an Easter basket and like hide somewhere? I don't think there's an Easter basket large enough. I feel like it's. Do you have spray paint? Big box. Do you have like colorful spray paint? No. Okay. What you could do? I feel like I could wrap it. Yeah, you could wrap it, or you could just like get like pink and purple and yellow and just spray paint the box that it comes in, and just like hide it somewhere. Like you're not gonna be able to hide it, but like just put it in the back of your truck. Yeah. Like just put it there and then back up. Like have him like blindfolded, come out and like. You back the truck up to him. Yeah. And you're like, surprise, here's your Easter basket. Here's your Easter box. Yeah. Just do that. I don't know.
Your Easter egg hunt. Yeah. Just put it in the middle of the backyard. Paint it like an egg.
Yeah, just paint like ovals in it. Yeah. Like oval paints. Oh. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Paint it all green, that oval paint. Yeah. On it. Yeah. But I'm that's cool.
Very, very excited because like he got me into trapping. He got me into hunting and fishing. Like we just went fishing this morning and he beat me, obviously. Yeah. But I am so excited to go duck hunting with him. Like that's like duck hunting and turkey hunting are like tied for my second passion next to trapping. Like it's, and he used to waterfowl hunt. He would give me tips and stuff when I would come home from hunting, and he'd be like, "Oh, you need to do this different," and all that stuff. But now that he's gonna go with me, I'm working extra hard to make sure that I have everything ready because this is gonna be our first season together, and I'm not gonna make it worth. I'm gonna make it worth.
Worthwhile. Yeah. I think that's the coolest thing about hunting in general is like, one, most of the people who hunt or trap or whatever, they got into it because their dad or mom or whoever got them into it, and then like you get so involved into it that eventually you want to return the favor. And I think that's where you're at now is like you're returning the favor to your dad because like he got you into this hobby and passion that you have, and now it's becoming twofold, comes back to him now. Right. Now it's your job to make sure that he enjoys it as much as you did when you first got into it at the age of 8. Right. Like that's
can't beat that feeling. Yeah. It's not.
You can't.
I'll text my dad, hey, I'm going fishing. I don't even have to, hey, I'm going fishing. All right, what time do you want to meet up? Like, it's not even like, all right, cool. I said, I want to go here. We can go here. Where do you want to go? And we just, I always drag him. Half the time my mom's texting me, get your dad out of this house. They're both retired. Okay? They're both retired now. So it's like, get him out of the house before I kill him. Yeah. All right, Mom, Dad, we're going fishing. Yeah. But I always enjoy it. Like, hunting with my dad, fishing with my dad, same Same thing. It's like, all right, Dad, let's go.
And that's like, you sometimes with social media, you get so caught up in it. Like, you like, oh, you want that instant gratification. Where it's like you get away from that and you just focus on yourself and focus on like trying to get the biggest buck down or trying to get the longest beard you can down or trapping the biggest raccoon or whatever. Like, going mountain lion hunting. It's you get so enthralled with that sometimes you get distracted from what really matters. And like that's kind of what happened to me. I'd say the year after we started the podcast is like I got so enthralled with it that I was like I kind of stepped up, like I didn't enjoy it as much with my dad and my grandfather and stuff like that. And now this year I kind of get to have that opportunity back where like I'm going down to North Carolina with my grandpa and my dad to go whitetail hunting during the rut. So it's like that's going to be fun because I didn't bring that up. My grandfather brought that up. And it's like to have the first generation who really started the whole thing to be able to go down south with him. None of us have gone down south to hunt. Like, I think that's the coolest thing is like, it's returning like the favor of like, hey, you got me into this. Like, thank you for this. Like, even though my grandfather didn't get me into it, my dad did, but I'm returning it to my grandfather because like without him, it never would have happened.
Right.
Like, yeah, my dad may complain that he had to wait till he was 14 years old to get into it. But like, you're into it. So, I mean, that's the thing. It was like, it's, you have to return the favor at some point.
Exactly. And my dad always says, you never get these seasons back. And it's true. You don't. You don't ever get this time back with the people that you hunt with or to hunt in the places that you do or in the condition that you're in. Like, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, like Morgan Wallen's song, it could be your last buck. You never know what's your last buck.
It could be.
It could be your last buck.
Wow.
I'm about to cry.
You can tell.
Stop. No, I'm not. You're going to cry. Anyway, so is there any more traps to show us here to the listeners that like you wanted to share with them before we end the podcast? And that's the final question, I guess.
I think that was it.
Okay.
These are all that I have.
So what would be your biggest tip to someone who's listening to this? Like, it could be a trapping tip. Well, let's stick with trapping because we're talking about trapping mostly. Let's stick with what's your biggest trapping tip to a listener who's like, you know what, they have a good point. I'm gonna at least try and trap in the area, like trap in the areas you scout anyway for whitetail. Like, why not? Like, I see people out all the time shouting for whitetails. Why can't you run a trap line when you're out there? Like, you run trail cameras, you go out there and check. Why can't you run a trap line? Like, I might do it. I think my dad has some traps at the house that I might. If I'm out there scouting for whitetail, I might just put the trap down.
Yeah.
And I'll get the right permits first, obviously.
Right. Probably my biggest tip to people listening is to know your animal and to read the books written by the old timers. For information, they're a wealth of information. Books by Russ Carman. If you're trapping for dog proofs, there's a really great book by Red O'Hearn on dog proof trapping. But just be a sponge of information. That's your best bet.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard also this, that the old time trappers were also some of the best whitetail hunters as well because they were out there all the time running trap lines.
Right. And spend as much time as you can in the woods. Get to know your properties, get to know what the animals that you're trapping, and it really also helps if you study the biology of them because then you understand them better. Not just understand how they behave, but like how they are.
Yeah, makes sense.
And their personality, because every animal has a personality.
Oh yeah. Every animal has a personality, but then every personality within that animal ecosystem is different. So like every buck, every doe has a different personality than just one doe.
Right.
Everything has its own personality. Like a raccoon in general, the species has a personality.
Right.
But yet every raccoon in that ecosystem has its own personality.
Exactly.
It's like fucking wild.
And it's crazy. Like, I've had coons that get caught in a trap, and they'll like make a catch circle, and it'll be like a dredge that they dug in the ground because they were just running around.
Oh my
and
God.
I have some that'll just sit there and look at me, and there's no evidence that they've ever been caught. But usually the coons that make that was a 26-pound raccoon that made that. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, they get some big boys.
Okay, so what's the biggest what's the biggest, beaver and raccoons, what's the biggest beaver you caught and what's the biggest raccoon you caught?
Biggest raccoon I've caught was the 26 pound.
Okay.
And we named him Three Toes because he only had 3 toes on 1 foot. So he's probably
No
been
thumb,
caught
huh?
before. Yeah.
Shame.
And
Get out of here with those 3 fingers.
and probably my biggest beaver, probably about, I think we weighed him, it was 48 pounds, which, that's a fair sized beaver.
Yeah. I would say so, yeah.
I know they can get pretty
What's the
chunky.
biggest one? Wasn't like
70 pounds or something.
Was it 70
I think
pounds?
it's like 72 pounds. I think that's
Dang.
the record.
That's I think my dad has a friend that caught a beaver the one time, and like he showed me a picture, and like the beaver was like from chest down to like his shin or something like that. And it's like,
Yeah, beaver. They're. I saw a post on Facebook last year. There was out in South Dakota. They got them corn-fed raccoons. They caught like a 40-pound raccoon in South Dakota. They laid it on the tailgate next to a coyote, and I'm like 99% sure that this is real.
Yeah.
Like, not photoshopped. It was huge. It was as big as a coyote.
was it bigger than the coyote,
Yeah.
or was it? What if for some odd reason that raccoon was the coyote's predator,
That would be crazy. Could
Wouldn't
you
it?
imagine seeing a raccoon like take down a coyote? That would be insane.
or like a pack of raccoons chasing after a whitetail?
That would be insane.
That'd be insane.
I would.
I would run away.
I
would never hunt there again.
Like they have every advantage. They can climb. They have opposable thumbs. Like
Yeah.
there's
You're in a tree stand one time, and you're like, you hear the tree just moving around, and all of a sudden this raccoon just
40-pound
coming
raccoon.
down, like it's something
Like
from
choking you out.
Like you're holding on to your Twinkie, like looking up.
I don't eat Twinkies in the woods.
Why
Makes me
not?
fall asleep.
Oh,
I try to eat,
Gotcha.
but the thing is, you gotta, you're craving things when you're in the woods. It's like,
Right.
I need sweets. You think you
Always
need
have
sweets to
Little
stay
Debbie's.
awake. Yeah, Little Debbie's.
always cosmic
Mine is-
brownies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not
butter
the
cake,
off-brand, though.
Tasty cakes.
Off-brand ones, my wife got them the one time from Aldi. Like, she stopped eating them. She couldn't eat them anymore. But
Yeah.
I finished the box because I was like, I don't want things to go to waste.
Yeah.
So I ate them. But they definitely weren't as good.
Yeah, no.
Definitely not as good.
Tasty cakes, hippity hops. They're the best.
Hippity
hands down.
hops.
They're coconut inside. They got chocolate.
Oh,
on
I'm
the
not a fan of
outside.
coconut.
I love coconut.
Are you a fan of Peeps? Since
Yes.
Easter is like tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You a fan of Peeps? Mm-hmm. They're fucking gross.
Yeah, you don't like them?
No. It's
Have
too...
you tried the new flavors, the tropical berry ones?
Why would that attract me any more to them?
Because it's
do you-
better
do you
and
let
they're
'em-
brightly colored.
Do you let them go stale and then eat them? Mm-mm. See, my
Eat 'em
wife
fresh
does
out of
that.
package.
My wife does that. She'll let them like go stale kind of deal. So she said they taste better.
I feel like they don't really have a taste. I feel like I just eat it when I'm like, I wouldn't mind a cavity today, and then I eat it.
Yeah, that's not. It's about.
I mean, today looks like a good day to get a cavity.
Let's go see my dentist. Yeah.
Like the day before you go to dentist,
Right.
eat a like I don't even know how many come in. Like I think
There's like
5,
8
Fi-
in a
eight,
pack, I
eight.
think.
Yeah, eat 8 of them at once. Gosh, that has to be a
The
cavity.
chocolate covered ones are good. It's like a chocolate covered
Okay.
marshmallow.
Chocolate ones I could see,
Yeah.
but like the regular like yellow, pink, blue ones,
Yeah,
like
no,
I'm like,
I can't do the yellow ones. It
Why-
tastes like
why?
hand sanitizer.
really?
Yeah.
They had to have taste to them.
The yellow one, like the sugar, like the aftertaste. The sugar
What about
tastes
the
like
pink?
hand sanitizer.
What do they
I
taste
don't
like?
really taste.
Because like the wafers, like the pink ones, the vanilla ones, and the chocolate ones. The pink ones are my go-to for those things.
Really?
Yeah, I just love the
Wafers.
strawberry taste. Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. Anyway, so Autumn, where can people follow along with you? Ask you questions. Maybe even follow PA Trappers Association.
Yeah.
Where can they follow that? at?
Like the Pennsylvania Trappers Association on Facebook. Follow our website, patrappers.com. My personal social media, you can find me at Autumn McEntee on Facebook. You can find me at PA Trapper Girl on Instagram.
Okay. Well, Autumn, thanks for coming in here. Thanks for telling us about trapping. Thanks for dealing with our nonsense.
Yeah, anytime.
It was fun chatting with you.
Yeah, had a great time. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bro.
Boom.